Real Life Storytellers. Written by Callery and illustrated by Mike Phillips. Roald Dahl. Fact file. Name: Roald Dahl. Date of birth: 13 September 1916. Nationality: British, with Norwegian parents. Famous books include James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the BFG. Favorite author: Ernest Hemingway. Liked: chocolate, flying, photography and collecting furniture and paintings. 1916, born in Cardiff, Wales. 1939, trains as a fighter pilot. 1961, starts writing for children. 1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory film made. 1983, wins a Whitbread Award for The Witches. 1990, dies. A hard start. Roald Dahl is one of the most popular children's authors ever, selling millions of copies of his funny stories full of wacky characters. But there wasn't much to laugh at in his difficult childhood. Roald's parents were from Norway and named him after the Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen. His father died when Roald was 3 years old, and he was later sent away to boarding school, where he was homesick and unhappy. The only thing he was really good at was sport. Roald's reports from the school said that he wasn't a hard worker. Gobstoppers. Roald began getting into trouble at school. One school report complained he was lazy. Once, he got told off for putting a dead mouse in a jar of gobstoppers in the local sweet shop. He and his friends called this the Great Mouse Plot of 1924. The unkindness of some adults at school influenced Roald's writing. The grown-ups in his stories are often stupid or cruel, and these baddies always get punished. Seeking adventure. After he finished school, Roald could have gone to university, but he decided to travel and have adventures instead. He looked for jobs in faraway places. First, he worked for an oil company in Tanzania. Then, when the Second World War began, 23-year-old Roald joined the Royal Air Force. Roald trained as a fighter pilot. Bumpy start. On his first mission, Roald was lucky to survive a crash landing in the African desert. He escaped but was badly burned and left with a permanent limp. It was 6 months before he was able to fly again, but he went on to become a very successful pilot. The Second World War, from 1939 to 45, was a battle between two groups of countries, the Allies including the UK, USA and many other countries, and the Axis including Germany, Italy and Japan. It was fought all around the world, on land, at sea and in the air. Skywriting. Roald was sent to Washington, D.C. in 1942 as an air attaché, helping to find and pass on useful information. He was a sort of spy. He wrote a story in a magazine about his scary wartime crash landing. It was a great success, and Roald was asked to write more tales about the war. Kid stuff. In 1953, Roald married an actress called Patricia Neal, and they moved back to England. They went on to have 5 children, and Roald loved making up long, funny bedtime stories for them. When he started to publish these, he stopped writing for adults. Roald and Patricia's marriage lasted for 30 years. You have to keep things ticking along. And if you think a child is getting bored, you must think up something that jolts it back. Something that tickles. Roald Dahl. Big ideas from a small hut. From 1961, Roald created his children's books in a hut in his garden. He would sit in an armchair with his feet propped up on the desk and a rug over his legs. With a board resting on his knees, he scribbled ideas and stories in pencil onto lined paper. Roald's old garden hut is now famous. The hut was in an orchard, and its fruit trees gave him an idea for one of his early stories. Roald imagined what might happen if the fruits didn't stop growing. This was the inspiration for James and the Giant Peach. The book was a big success. Roald was on his way to being a very popular children's writer. James meets 6 wacky insects during his time in the Giant Peach. Roald often played tricks on his own family, like coloring the milk pink to surprise them when they went to have their morning cereal. International success. Over the following decades, Roald wrote more than 20 books of stories and poems. They sold millions of copies and were translated into 34 languages. 6 of his books have been made into films, including Matilda in 1996, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in 1971, and again in 2005, and Fantastic Mr. Fox in 2009. Roald loved chocolate. He kept a bowl made of chocolate wrappers on his desk. It was very heavy. The Roald Dahl Museum has a snack shop called Coffee Twit. Still remembered. After his death in 1990, Roald was buried with his snooker cues, some chocolate, and a set of the HB pencils he always wrote with. His name lives on through his stories and poems, as well as through the Roald Dahl Museum and Roald Dahl's marvelous children's charity, a charity that helps poor and sick children. It is my hope that you found Roald Dahl's narrative, diligence, and accomplishments to be both enjoyable and edifying. Please share in the appreciation of this inspiring story by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Arcel Academy. Additionally, kindly tap the bell icon to receive notifications for more enriching content and real-life stories.